All right, hello and welcome to a session of our Fit Essentials. My name is Shauna. We've got our B3 bands on today. If you're using them, we've already added air, so make sure you go ahead and do that. And we're going to be coming down to hands and knees. We've got some midline work with some bird dogs and some glute activation happening today. So when you're ready, go ahead and join us down on hands and knees. We're going to warm up the wrists. As you come on down to all fours, go ahead and turn the palms down and rotate your fingers so they're pointing in towards your legs. This has got some bones for me. Draw the stomach in and just lean back like a little mini child's position. Spreading those fingers nice and wide. And from there, coming off that position, rotate those hands so the fingers point in towards one another. And now we'll take it into a small little circular pattern, rotating around 2 to 3 circles each direction. Good. When you're ready, rotate the other way. She can help. All right, and then go ahead and come into a kneeling position and circle those wrists around. Same thing other way. Fantastic. All right, we're going to start here in about 15 seconds. We're going to be working that bird dog position. So you'll be on hands and knees, nice wide handprint. You're going to use, say, if you start with your right arm, it's going to be the left leg that extends back, watching not to overarch the spine. So when you're ready, breathing in as you stretch long, breathing out as you bring your hand towards your opposite thigh. Engage the glute. You can pause in that extended position. Lifting up nice and strong out of that support shoulder. We're going to work 45 seconds on this side, and then we'll switch to the other limbs. Hold a nice neutral position, not just through that lower spine, ensure you don't overarch, but also draw the chin in, looking down at that support hand. It's 30 seconds, but another 15. And as you extend that leg back, you want the toe to be pointing straight down towards the floor. Maybe one more. And rest. In between sides, make sure you take note of which arm and which leg we're working. Let's do a few cat-cows. So breathing out, draw the chin into the chest. Breathing in, gentle arch, draw the shoulders back and down. Let's go about 3 cycles here. One more time. Very good. Let's get ready for that bird dog on the opposite side. So 2, 1, here we go. For me, it's left arm, right leg. Breathing out, squeeze the glute, extend nice and long from the tips of your fingers to the bottom of your foot. Good. Just watch that tendency for the hips to kind of drop down. You want to keep everything nice and square to your shoulders. Trying to breathe in through the nose, stretching long out through the mouth. Few more. Very good. Last one. And rest. Let's come off the hands for a minute. Toes together, knees divide. Walk those hands out and take it back into child's stretch. Lower that head between the arms. Breathing into the back and sides of your rib cage. This is the end of set 1. We're going to do that bird dog one more time before we make our way up to standing. Good. So when you're ready, coming back forward, spread those fingers nice and wide and back to your first arm and first leg. 2, 1, here we go. Breathe in, extend. Breathe out, draw it together. Ideally, you want to make contact, bringing your hand and just touch that opposite knee underneath the body. And not so much the elbow sharing, just the palm of the hand. Have a little bit less of like a flexion through the back. That's better. 30 seconds in, 15 seconds left. Good. Lifting up out of those shoulders. Do 1 or 2 more. And shake it out. Good job. We're going to go straight to the other side. So readjust the knees as able. Spread those fingers nice and wide. And 2, 1, here we go. Bird dog on that opposite side. Breathing in, pulling together. Nice. Waking up the midline, activating that glute on that single leg. Again, to make sure that we're not starting to rotate that foot away. Almost there. Let's go about 3 more times. Open it. Close. And 2, 1, and rest. Great job. Let's go ahead and come back into child's. We're going to open up those inner thighs. So we're going to move the dog out of the way. We're going to kick one leg out to the side. So with your left leg out to the side, take your left arm, reach it across to center, and then lowering back from here. You breathe in, rock it forward, coming onto the hands, and then breathe out, rocking the hips back towards the heel as you bow that head down. One more time, breathing in, rocking forward, breathing out, rocking back. Very good. In between sides, quadruped hip rock. You're going to walk the knees in so they're touching one another. Draw that stomach in so we don't arch that lower spine. And then nice and steady, lowering the hips towards one side. And then up and across to the other. 2 or 3 times each direction. Nice. And then we're going to even out that inner thigh stretch. So now the same thing, opposite leg. So if you were on your left leg, now we'll extend your right leg out. Try to turn the sole of the foot down towards the floor. Grip that mat. And then we'll do 3 rock backs. Breathing in as you come forward onto the hands. Breathing out, lowering the head down. Do a nice lengthening through that inner thigh. Fantastic. As you finish that, we're going to come into down dog. Open up that mid back, stretch out those calves, and we'll make our way up to standing. Breathing in, coming forward onto those hands. Breathing out, gently rock back. When you're ready, pedal out those feet, lowering one heel down and then the other. And then nice and slow. So to inchworm your way up, keeping a nice soft bend in those knees, and then take your time coming out of that forward fold position. Fantastic. Once you make your way up to standing, go ahead and circle those hips around. I'm going to get ready to warm up for some squatting next. 3 to 5 times one way, and then circle those hips the other direction. All right, a little quad stretch, a little bit of balance work next. Draw everything up and in, squeeze the shoulders back as you grab that single foot. Nice. And when you're ready, lower that foot down. Same thing, other side, drawing up, squeeze those shoulders back. Keep those hips level. We're going to be doing a different variation of a squat today. It's going to be a squat, a little bit like a sumo style squat with a bicep curl. So I'll show you that here in just a second. And shake out those feet. All right, so let's go ahead and warm up our squats together. Set those feet about hip width apart. Just a gentle toe out. And then nice and slow, you're going to reach those arms out in front. The heels planted, knees wide. Very good. Go ahead and take yourself through 3 to 5 of those. And then while you're doing that, I'm going to show you the variation we're going to do with the dumbbells. So you're going to hold some lighter dumbbells. You're going to keep the chest nice and tall. As you lower the dumbbells towards the floor. And then as you stand, you'll simply take it into a bicep curl. So you'll extend the arms, chest tall as you squat down, making sure you're not going into a hinging pattern. And you'll stand and curl. So again, chest as tall as you can, straight up into that bicep curl. Okay, we're going to be doing that. And then you want to have light enough weights that you can go directly into a lateral raise, into a front raise, and then we'll be going into an overhead press. And our final exercise are the push-ups. So either an elevated surface is where I'll be demoing, or down on the floor as you feel confident. Let's do one more stretch before we jump into that. Wide base stance for our behind the back stretch with that forward fold. So anchor down to those feet, draw the elbows back, open the chest. And it's normal to go into that sway back here. So we want to avoid that. Pull the ribs down, and then if you feel good to come in that forward fold, long spine, Reconnecting into that breath, expanding the back and sides of the rib cage. On that next inhale, come on back up. Very good. All right, we'll get started here in about 20 seconds. We're going to be working for 45 seconds on the squat. If you have some water nearby, go ahead and grab a drink. And then it'll be 20 to 30 seconds on each of the upper body pieces. Perfect. So light to moderate dumbbells, feet about hip width apart, holding the weights right between the legs. Squeeze those shoulders back. And then when you're ready, tall chest as you squat down, as you stand into that bicep curl. Yep. Fully extend the elbows, eyes up, and breathe. First of 3 rounds. I want to focus on those feet being glued into that floor. It's a great time to focus on not just keeping your weight back into the heels, but notice the tendency to lift the toes. So pushing that big toe down, keeping those knees driving wide through the movement. Nice. 30 seconds in, 15 seconds left. Excellent. I'm going to go into our lateral raises next. Maybe one more here. Up and rest. Good job. Walk the feet in. Draw the stomach in. And then when you're ready, lateral raise. Use nice light weights. Or yep, transitioning to the bands is great too. Those long TheraBands. Sometimes we want to push that head out as we lift the arms up. So be intentional. Chin in, standing tall. Good. When you're ready, switch it up to the front raise. Soft bend in the knees, moving to the front of the body. Nice. Practice to engage that lower body. Kind of flex the thighs, squeeze the tush. 10 seconds left. Moving into an overhead press next. So if you are using the bands on these raises, have some dumbbells nearby. And getting ready to transition. Coming up to the shoulders, chin in, and when you're ready, we'll work this for about 30 seconds. If you've done a lot of overhead work this week, or if you've been a little bit tight in your upper neck, you can go a single arm overhead press, alternating sides. If you want a little bit more pump in those arms, then both arms together. I personally have done a decent amount of overhead, so I'm going to go one at a time here, final 10 seconds, and then we're going to transition to those push-ups next. And 2, 1, get ready to rotate. Ideally, I'd like you to use a surface that you can come all the way down to the chest. Nice wide handprint, shoulders level, and when you're ready, lowering down, squeeze a tush as you drive up and away. Breathe in as you lower, breathe out as you push up. This will be our final exercise of this series. We'll take about a 20 seconds break when we finish these push-ups, and we'll be back for set 2. Very good. Drawing those elbows in, not winging them wide. Nice. 2, 1, and shake it out. Great work. 20 seconds, we'll be back to that squat with the bicep curl. All right, you felt out round 1. See if you want to hold a similar tempo or slightly faster for set 2. Feet about hip width apart, tall chest, and here we go. Squatting down. You got to really fight to keep that chest tall on these, because oftentimes we're reaching those arms out in front to help guide that chest tall. So be intentional about where you're looking. Keeping those eyes up is going to help encourage that upright posture. Good. Everyone here live, looking strong. Heels are pushing down. Toes are engaged. That's 30 seconds, 15 seconds left. Coming into that lateral raise movement next. Good. Final rep. And transition. So we'll give a quick shake out. Those people grabbing bands, give them a chance to grab those long TheraBands. Walking those feet in, toes pointing forward now. And here we go. Breathe out on the lift. Breathe in as you lower. Yeah. Still activating that lower body. Excellent. Chin in, eyes up. Good, maybe one or two more, and then we'll go into those front raises. So when you're ready, transition to the front. Excellent, good. Breathing through it. I find myself really activating kind of the front side of my abdomen, drawing those ribs down and in so I don't go into that sway back posture. Good, and transition, overhead press. You need to make a switch for any weights. Elbows up and forward. So again, your choice, you can go both arms together here or that alternating press. Nice. And sometimes if you're someone that's really stiff and you tend to overarch as you press both the overhead, that single arm press will help to keep you taller and not to compensate through that lower spine. Woo, good job. We're over halfway. Get ready for push-ups next. You need to add a little help from the legs. You add a little dip and drive. Turn it into a push press. Otherwise, 2, 1, and transition to the push-up. All right. It's always an option too to hold the top of that plank. Otherwise, 30 seconds starts now. Chin in. Turn that focus straight between the hands. Awesome. See all different great variations going on there. Some are elevated like I am. Some are coming down on the toes, up on the knees. That little hybrid version. Woo. Don't let those hips sink in. Keep squeezing the back side. Hold the midline strong. Final rep. And take a rest. Nice job. 20 seconds. Be back for round 3. All right, getting ready here in 10 seconds. Final set of that. Squat with the bicep curl. Set the feet. Tall chest. Everyone ready? And 2, 1. Here we go. Eyes up. Breathing throughout. Excellent. Coming all the way up to the shoulders on that curl, fully extending the elbows on the way down. Yep, full range of motion. Nice. That's 30 seconds, another 15. There you go, good work. Final rep. 3, 2, 1. Transition to the lateral raise. Adjust the weights or grab the bands as needed. Walk those feet in, toes pointing forward. And when you're ready. Nice. Smile and breathe, just moving through nice and strong, nice and steady, building those shoulders. Good, from lateral raise, taking it into that front raise in front of the body, maintaining that soft bend in the knees. Belly drawn in. Beautiful. 1 or 2 more, and then we're going to that overhead press. All right, transition. Coming to that overhead press. Those of you with the B3 bands, we're going to let the air out after this. Elbows up and forward. And here we go. So again, we can add a little dip drive if needed. Get a little boost out of the legs. If you've got that strength to just keep it with the upper body, that's wonderful too. Nice, final 10 seconds. Pressing high, elevating those shoulders up and into the ears. Bring that weight right over the center of your head. 2, 1, and transition. All right, so if you're wearing the bands, you can let that air out. You can go to the hardest version you feel comfortable with on the push-up. So I'm gonna take it down to the floor now. Wide handprint. Draw that stomach in. And 30 seconds starts now. So remember, we have that tendency to wing those elbows wide. Keep them in, pushing up. So I'm going to come down on my toes all the way to the chest, and I lower my knees down and come up from there, avoiding that peeling off the ground where you tend to overarch the spine. Woo! Feeling that pump. 10 seconds. If that push-up dies out, stay tall up at the top of the plank. 2, 1, and everybody's done there. Woo, great work. All right, we're gonna have a little stretch break here, getting ready for some different movements coming up next. We've got some deadlifts, option of some dips or some overhead tricep extensions, and then just some general blood flow work. So if your water glass is nearby, grab a quick drink, and then we're gonna come onto the floor. We're gonna come down onto our back and loosen up that low back a bit. If you're short on time today, or maybe your energy's a little bit low, use this transition piece as your cool down stretch. All right, so as you come onto your back, start with that double knee to chest, hugging both legs in, and just a little loosening side to side. Always my favorite place to start, kind of check in with that low back. And then if that's feeling good, you can go deeper into that twist, into that 2-knee twist. You splay the arms to the side, so it also gives a little opening for the chest. Trying to keep those shoulders down as you bring the legs across. Looking over the other shoulder. And then breathe in, switching sides. About 2 to 3 touches each direction. Good, and when you finish that 2-knee twist, let's take it between 5 and 8 glute bridges. You'll set the shoulders, place the feet, and then we're just using this as a good waking up for that back side, opening up the front side, holding for 1 to 2 counts at the top. You can also stretch out the back of that neck as the hips rise, draw that chin in, trying to make like a double or triple chin, lengthening the back of that neck where we tend to hold a lot of our tension. Good, 1 or 2 more. Up and squeeze, lengthen. And rest from there. Fantastic. Coming back onto all fours, one more time into down dog, and we'll make our way up to standing. Great job. Hip side, sitting on back. Pedal up those heels. And then nice and slow, making your way, come on up. We're going to repeat this toe touch after we come to standing. So I want you to check in with your range of motion today. Toes are pointing forward, standing tall, chin to the chest, and just allow that spine to round on this one. Seeing where your reach is. If you can comfortably reach the toes, reach the floor, it's probably no problem to take your weights all the way to the ground. If you feel really stiff in that low back as you're lowering down, when we start to work these deadlifts, maybe just come to like knee level, mid shin, whatever position feels best for you. Good, as you stand tall, some rotations. Turn the head and neck. All righty, and then we're gonna open the hips once more and add that tricep side bend. So let's stagger the legs, long step back, chest up, reach that arm up as you bend that elbow. So we're shifting that hip forward, squeezing the tush of the trail leg, and then pulling that elbow back as you bend to the side. So you get a nice little side body stretch here. And that front of the hip that tends to get really tight. Good, stay on that side, but come out of it for a second. And then breathe again, hip shift, eyes up, lift through that chest. And then on this one, if you want, add a little rotation. We're gonna turn your gaze, peering up past the elbow of the side you're stretching. Woo. When you're ready, unwind from there. Good job. In between sides, a little side step arm swing. A lot of times we'll feel stiff in our low back, and sometimes the problem or the culprit is the front of those hips. So here we go to that other side. If you've been having that stiffness in the low back, make sure you're also giving some love to those hip flexors. Standing tall, bending that elbow. So we're getting that shift to the hips, opening, eyes up, side bend the first time. Good. Coming out of it, shifting back into it, into that side bend, and then that option of that gentle rotation, peering up. Keep breathing, no forcing. And then when you're ready, come on down from there. All right. We're going to have 4 rounds coming up next. It's going to be roughly about a 12-minute circuit. First 2 rounds are going to be working a sumo deadlift. So it's going to look very similar to that squat that we just did, but now we're going to allow that hinge of the hips. So if you want to practice with me, you can stand tall. You can start without weights. You're going to send those hips back, have that nice long spine, and then standing straight up. If you notice, I have a lighter to moderate weight because I'm holding the weight in one arm. We're going to go 30 seconds on one side, and then we'll switch hands and go 30 seconds on the other. Good. So yeah, everyone looking strong here that's here live. Long spine, flat back position, and you're intentionally allowing that chest to come forward so your hips are hinging like a door hinge. Good. Shake it out from there, friends. Not starting yet. And then I'll talk about the dip on the first round, but if anything's going on, you don't have anywhere to dip, the option otherwise is our tricep overhead extension. So I'm holding a weight overhead, bending the elbows, and extend those elbows. 30 seconds. And then we'll end each round with about 60 seconds of some blood flow work. If you have a little mini trampoline, stationary bike you'd like to ride, otherwise just follow along with us. All right, starting in 10. Start on your non-dominant arm. First of 4 rounds. Draw that midline in, squeeze those shoulders back, and here we go. Long spine. Breathing in as you set it down right between the feet. Breathing out as you stand tall, stacking those shoulders over the hips. Good. You want to feel like the side that's holding the weight has an engagement through that shoulder blade. So you don't want that weight to just swing away from you. Hold it in close to your center of gravity. Nice. Good. When you're ready, switching hands, same thing, opposite hand, pushing through the floor. So our whole goal in these classes is just get you stronger for what you do in your everyday life. Picking up grocery bags, laundry baskets, knowing the difference between a hinge and a squat. 10 seconds left. Yep, waking up the back of the body. And final wrap. Good job. Use that good movement pattern to set your weight down. And now you're going either to that dip position or the overhead tricep extension. Let's box a little bit more. So for the dip, I'm going to draw those shoulders back, walk the feet out. And then when you're ready, we're lowering down, pushing through, or that overhead tricep extension. Sometimes we add that hip bridge here. With a 30-second interval, I'm going to keep my hips down a little bit lower, get a little bit more speed here. Nice. Avoid letting those shoulders sink into those ears, those of you practicing the dip, and broad chest at the top. Nice. 2, 1, and transition. Set the weights down if you're doing the overhead work. And now getting ready for that blood flow work. So first one, march and punch or skip and punch. Arms high, getting that cross body action. Nice. We're going to switch it up every 20 seconds here. So another 10 seconds here. You want a little bit more action? You can add that hop. We're just going to march right now. All right, next one goes step or jump jacks. Stepping side to side, jumping up and down. Good. Halfway through on these jump jacks. And then we're going to finish with our butt kickers or our glute kickers, however you want to call it. So from there we go, arms to the side. Now instead of the knees high, pulling the heels up. So this can be a march as well. Trying to fire the back side of the body more than those quads and hip flexors. Good job. Almost there. And 3, 2, 1. Take a pause. All right, we'll go in 20 seconds. Back to the sumo deadlift. Yeah, go for it. This round on the dip, I'll show that overhead extension. So back to your weight, non-dominant arm. Set the feet, draw the midline in. 2, 1, here we go. Nice. And whenever we're holding weight on one side of the body, there's that tendency for that rotation to happen. Typically, the hips are going to shift away from the side holding the weight. So it's your job to bring a little bit of awareness to those hips and shoulders. Make sure you feel those hips pushing straight back. Good, getting ready to switch. And second arm. Nice. You want to stand as tall as you can. Thinking about lifting straight up towards the ceiling. Stacking those shoulders right over top of the hips. Fantastic. Ready, less than 10 seconds. I'm going to show the overhead extension this round instead of the dip. 2, 1, transition. So if you did the dip and want to stick with it, that's totally fine. If that wasn't working out for you, you can take the dumbbell, 1 or 2 of them overhead, toes pointing forward, and then when you're ready, bend and extend. Nice. And similar to that overhead press we did earlier, it is a little bit of a challenge to make sure you're not overarching that spine. Positioning looks good, Jean. Nice, Sharon. Good, Amy, just make sure we don't get in that sway back posture. And 2, 1, and rest. Great extension out of that dip, Kathy. All right, we did march and punch last time. Now we're going to change it up a bit with that alternating knee to elbow. Breathing out as you draw that knee up and across. Excellent. All right, the knee high, lift the foot and toes also. Good, from here to step or jump jacks. It's also a great place to take a little bit of a breather, a little bit longer rest. All right, we're going to finish with that same exercise from last round, those heel kickers, pulling the heels up behind you. More just underneath you. So you're trying to think of bringing your heel up to that sit bone. Nice, final 10 seconds. 2, 1, and take a pause. All right. For rounds 3 and 4, you can keep the deadlift just as you have been. If you want to give a little bit variation to the movement, we can move into what we call a suitcase deadlift. My feet would be closer, and now I'm bringing the weight straight down to the side of my body. So it's still a hinge, standing tall, but it's not between my legs. So that's what I'm going to demo. See what feels best for you. Starting in 10 seconds. We're halfway through, friends. All right, standing tall. And begin. If you're choosing that suitcase deadlift, there'll be even more of that tendency of what we talked about with those hips wanting to push away. So think straight back, straight up. If you're experiencing any kind of pinching sensation at low back, especially as you stand tall, you could be overarching as you stand tall. So make sure you just stack the shoulders over the hips. No reason to sway back. Good, switching arms. Second half, keep that nice tall chest position. Good. Squeezing that shoulder blade back and in. Halfway through. Awesome. Couple more. And make sure you use that same pattern as you set it down well and heading either to your dips or back to that overhead extension. As we go into that dip, draw those shoulders back. 2, 1, here we go. Squeeze those shoulders back and down, broad chest as you push up out of that dip. It's common to feel some tension in the front of the shoulders as you lower down. it shouldn't like be so much that it makes you grimace, but a lot of times we get stiff in the front of those shoulders. So dip actually can help to open. 1 or 2 more. And up for that blood flow work. We're going to return to that march and punch as we did on round 1. Bring those arms to the side. You can turn it into a skip if you'd like, or that little hop in that step. Woo, nice. Smile and breathe. If you got some good music playing on your end, you can feel free to dance that music. Couple more here. And we're back to our stepper jump jacks. Here we go. Nice. We're going to have the same finisher for all 4 rounds here. Back to those glute kickers. 3, 2, 1, and here we go. So the march would just be like so. Pulling the heel underneath the body or adding that little jog in place. Driving those arms to the side. Nice work. 10 seconds until our break. Really good. 2, 1, and 20-second rest. 4th and final round coming up. Use the heaviest weight you feel confident with. I'm going to stick with that suitcase deadlift, that old school style before we had those nice roller wheels. Standing tall, midline strong. Here we go. The heavier the weight, the more tendency to twist through that midline. You want to line up that neck position with the rest of the spine. So as I bow down, I'm looking down. As I stand tall, I'm looking up. Good. Last time, and then switch that opposite hand. Here we go. Final 30 seconds of these deadlifts. A lot of times just the name itself can kind of invoke a little bit of fear of the movement, but the whole idea is that you're moving a weight from a dead stop off the ground. You're lifting it off the floor. So don't be scared. Training our body to do it well. All right, 2, 1. Set it down well. I'm going to end with those overhead extensions. If you want to stick with that dip, you're welcome to it. Sure that you're not overarching that spine. Ready? Here we go. Into our final few exercises. We got the tricep extensions here, the dip practice, followed by our last minute of blood flow. Still engage that lower body, whichever version you're doing. It tends to go a little dormant on us. 10 seconds now. Keep breathing and try to avoid going to failure. Good. There's that 30 seconds. Set it down, shake it out. And we're going to start with those alternating knee to elbows. We're going to extend it out just a little bit longer this time for a full 30 seconds. And Moose wants to play. If you can make contact, that's great. Halfway through, stepper jump jacks next. Great work. Work for our midline, little work for our brain. All right, stepper jump jacks. Ready, Moose? Here we go. Woo! Might have been a bad invitation. It's all right. Halfway through. Got a little herding dog in them somewhere along the lines. All right, friends, 5 more seconds. And heel kickers, glute kickers, whatever you want to call them, to finish it out. All right, buddy. Where's your babies? We didn't bring any toys, did we? Silly us. 15 seconds. You got some good music on. Feel free to dance around, have some fun with it. Otherwise, running strong to that finish line. And 2, 1. Give yourself a little round of applause. Woohoo! Nice job, friends. Grab a drink and then we'll go into that cool down stretch. All right. We're gonna stick up on our feet for the first part of this. Let's go into a little eagle arms opener. So spread those arms wide. Take your left arm on top, swing your right arm under, and interlace those hands. Draw those shoulders down and in. Eyes up nice and tall. Then if you want to add the lower body, cross opposite leg over. Eyes up, chest tall, and you can sit on back, a little figure four opener. So just watch those hips don't kick out. Drawing those shoulders, keep that neck nice and long, chest tall. A little extra challenge from the puppy dog. And 3, 2, 1, come on up and out. Take note of which arm's on top. And now same thing, other side. Swing it under. Draw those shoulders down. Lift on up. Sit on back. Oh, thanks, Moose. You got my tissue. Breathing here, about 10 more seconds. And coming up from there. Good. Let's open up those pecs and chest. If you have a doorway you can use, I'm going to use the garage door here, somewhere where you can anchor that hand and arm down. So chest opener, elbow about 90 degrees against the door, against the wall. Step that inside leg forward. Again, as always, avoiding that sway back posture. Lean the chest forward and then turn your body away, carrying over that opposite shoulder. Nice deep breaths here. And then you could add backward circles of that outstretched arm 2 to 3 times. Just getting some nice circular patterns through that arm. Good. Come on off and same thing, other side. Up at 90. Anchor the hands, step on forward. Lean into it with that chest. And then rotating out and away. A few breaths here, and then you can add that outstretched arm. 2 to 3 backward circles. And come on off from there. Very nice. Grab another drink of water. And then we're going to make our way into like a lunge position. Similar to what we did earlier when we were in that stagger stance. So if you need an extra cushion for your knee, if it bothers you to be down in a lunge, you can also kind of turn the end of your yoga mat over. All right, so let's go ahead. Pick a leg that's going to step forward. It's going to be mirroring each other. It'll be your left leg. We're going to bring that opposite knee down to the floor. Interlace the hands, stretch up nice and tall, getting that shift of the hips. And we're going to start with a rotation. So you can kind of grab the wrist of the side that your knee is down and then turn your torso towards that front leg. Holding for about 2 to 3 breaths. Go ahead and unwind, rest those arms down for a second. And now we're going to add that tricep side bend. So the arm of the down leg reaches up. Bend that elbow like you're trying to get a good scratch of your back. So tricep stretch first. And you'll get that hinge of the hips and that side bend towards the front leg. Be conservative here, nothing to prove. Coming out of it. So one more time into it. Shift it forward, eyes up, soft bend towards that lead leg. And you can, again, add that gentle rotation, peering up past the elbow. Try to keep squeezing that tush of that back hip. And unwind, come on out. All right, if you're okay to stay on this side, we're gonna bring that elbow on the inside of the knee, slide on down. You have a yoga block here, a pillow. If it's tough in this position, you can hold that yoga block right by the inside of the ankle. And then we're going to get a little rotation for the mid-back before we switch sides. So you're going to start with your inside arm. It would be your left. Curl those fingers underneath that right arm. And you're going to lift up out of that downside arm and rotate back, following that arm with the gaze. Twice more. Breathing in, crawl the finger under. Breathing out, holding that open position. Once you've gone 3 times on that arm, same thing on the other side, but now you're going to crawl the hand underneath your foot or your leg. And then you rotate out from here. Pausing in that open, following the hand with your gaze. Really feel that whole midline. Lengthen and open. Very nice. Once you finish 3 times on that, let's come up out of that lunge. And we're going to go the same thing on the opposite side. Long step back. Eyes up, controlling that knee down. Good. And remember, we started with the rotation. So I raise both arms up, lift through the hips, shift that back hip forward. So I'm squeezing this tush. I can grab that wrist and gently rotate towards that front leg. Eyes up, long neck. Good. Coming out of it, relaxing the arms down. Now we add the tricep side bend. Raise that arm high. Reach around. Draw that elbow back as you shift the hips forward. Making sure that front shin is nice and vertical. And now we'll take that body to the side. Good. Breathing in, coming out of it. One more time. Shifting through the hips. Really squeeze that back hip, side bend. And then you can add that gentle rotation, peering up past that elbow. Wonderful. Unwind from there. And now we head towards that instep. Elbow on the inside of the front knee. Sliding down the shin. Taking a moment just to hover here. Feel that outer, it'd be probably your right hip opening. Not literally a minute, a moment, couple of breaths. And then we start with the inside hand, clawing it underneath that outside arm. And then lifting up, rotating back. 3 times on each. Breathing in, reaching, exhaling on that rotation just to get a little bit more movement through the rib cage by sending that air out. Having more space through the lungs. Good. After 3 times on that arm, 3 times on your second arm. Crawling under, lift and pivot. A little stiffer on that side for me. Yep. Good. When you finish these 3 here, we're going to make our way onto our back. So slowly lower on down. We're going to be doing those side thoracic rotations or like book openers. That is tough for you if you want to use a block. You can have a block nearby. I'll demo with it. Pillows work great also. But start where we were before with that double knee to chest, returning to that 2-knee twist. Now that we've done that deadlift work, loosening the back up. You're good to go deeper into the twist. Splay the arms to the side. Get a nice opening through the chest as well. All right. And then from here, if you are using that blocker pillow, let's take it onto the left side of your body. We're going to extend both legs out to start. And we're going to go to that glute stretch. Let's take your right leg, go and interlace the hands. Start by pulling the leg in towards the chest and then guide it across the body like you're trying to bring that knee towards the opposite shoulder. Breathing here. Good. And then from here, we're going to take the leg. This is where you can use the blocker pillow if you'd like. You can keep the knee bent if you don't want to go too deep into the twist and just set the block like underneath the knee, or you can have that leg extended out. Once that leg's in position, now the arms, you can start with the palms together straight up towards the sky, and you're going to spread the arms nice and wide. If it's your right knee that's across the body, you're going to bring your right hand or right arm coming over to meet that left. And then with that arm nice and long, you're going to come all the way back, following the hand with the head and neck. breathing in as you close the arms, closing your book, and then breathing out as you open that book. Again, turning that head and neck. The goal would be to get that right shoulder blade all the way back to the floor as you open the book. But as always, we don't want to force it. Just see where your body wants to twist for now. 1 or 2 more. Good. In between sides, let's take it into 5 bridges of those glutes. So another opening for the front of the hips. Knees are bent, lifting those hips up. Just a nice slow opening and lower those hips down. Using it to lengthen through that spine, drawing that chin in towards the chest. Breathing in as you lower down, breathing out as you rise up or raise up. Staying out of that range of motion that may invoke a little pinching sensation on the front of the hips. Good. And then when you finish 5-ish or so, 3 to 5, then we'll same thing on the opposite side. Extend your right leg, draw the left knee into the chest. Bring it across gently to open up the hip on that left side. And then with the block or pillow as needed, bringing that leg across into a little bit of that single leg twist. Splay those arms nice and wide. And now it's going to be the left arm up and across to meet the right. Breathing in as you close your book, breathing out as you open the book. Very good. A couple more. On that last one, open all the way as much as you can, holding it open. And then unwind from there. All right, final position before I leave you flat on your backs, the happy baby. Raise those legs up in the air, work those elbows on the insides of the knee. You can grab the outer shins if you can reach the bottoms of the feet. And now we're using those elbows, driving those legs wide, and give yourself a little rock side to side. If anybody wants to go deeper, this would be a great time. You can take it into plow, bringing those feet up and over the head. Otherwise, just lie flat on the back, arms to the side. Before you run up and jump into the next thing, try to take a moment. Give a little gratitude, give a little thanks for your body. It's easy to have judgment, feel like we never do enough. But hey, we show up, we do what we can. And the whole goal is to be able to be fresh and strong enough to come back next time. All right, friends, stay hydrated, stay warm, and look forward to moving with you next week.